Okay, getting everything set up. It takes me a while. I'll get faster eventually, but for right now, it just takes me a while. Okay, so I hope everyone had a good day. It is snowing here, and I'm very excited about the snow. I love snow. And um, I wanted to work on a sympathy card tonight. I have a good friend who has lost 3 members of her family. They were murdered right after Christmas, and it just seems like whenever you need a sympathy card, it's really hard to make the sympathy card when you need it. I already have other sympathy cards made, so I'm not trying to make one to send to her right now. But I thought I would walk you through the process of what I do when I need a sympathy card. So first of all, I have a lot of stamp sets, and I chose this one today. It's called Goodbye Isn't Forever, Stamp of the Month. It was close to my heart stamp a couple of years ago. So, got this nice tree scene, a single tree. Hi, Arkansas Flamingo. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Goodbye isn't forever. Love is. Thinking of you, praying for you and your loss. And this one's kind of hard to read. But it says, hope you can find comfort in the stories, the laughs, and all the joyful memories that will be with you forever. I'm probably wanting to use this one. And since it is a long stamp, it's going to determine the direction of my card. So, first, we always have to start with a card base. I'm going to use a white card today. So we're going to put this in our trimmer and trim it at 5.5. And remember, I said you always have to either have it butted up against the top or butted up against the bottom so that you get a nice straight cut. Hold this. Don't put your finger over here. You'll cut yourself. Wonder how she knows that. I may have cut myself a time or two. All right, and this is that really thick cardstock from Hobby Lobby. So it's actually called extra heavyweight, I believe. So line up your edges. Use something. I love my old Pampered Chef pot scratchers to crease my card. Okay, so back to this saying. This saying is going to take up the entire, almost the entire width of the card. So we can't have a tall card. We have to have a horizontal card. So I pulled out a couple of scraps of paper. If you watched the Highland Cattle video, you've seen this paper. I showed it. So I've got this kind of bluish green, the olives. I also have florals. I have this really pretty one with stars, but obviously our card is going sideways, so we can't use that one. Have a red. Have this one, which is just gorgeous. This one and this one. But when you make a sympathy card, you have to think about what you're doing. You're not going to want to make a bright red card, most likely. Too cheerful. Match the mood. It's like read the room. Read the room. You don't want this. This looks like Valentine's Day. Gold swirls. It looks like a party. Don't use those for don't use those for sympathy cards. Florals are great. Patterns are great. I love this gold, but I also wouldn't use it on a sympathy card. I would use this one. Either side is beautiful. Would not use that one. It's also too party-ish for my liking. I'm turning my other device around so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. And if you have a comment about which one you like or which one you would choose, let me know. Because we're going to kind of work on this one together. All right, Janet, you have a choice here. Anything here you like? I'm thinking because of the nature of the stamp set I'm going to use with the trees, I think I'm going to just go with the greens. So we've got our card, and then we take a piece of paper that is the same color white as your card because you don't want to get different colors of white. It looks bad when you do that. All right, so we have this. We're going to use something that's called Versamark ink. And Versamark is a clear watermark stamp pad. So when you open it, it doesn't look like anything. Mine's got a little bit of dirt on it because it gets used a lot. But we're going to use that. Let's see. I'm not sure if this stamp platform will be big enough, so I'm going to get my larger stamp platform. Okay, here it is. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to take my big bunch of trees, and I'm going to stick it right on here. And this ink is very, very sticky. You're not going to see it on your stamp, but when you go to stamp it, you can feel it. Okay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to line it up. Okay, now I have to think about this. Do I want it right in the middle? Because I would also like to add some of these other little trees. I want another tree here. And because this saying is so long, I might use it on the inside. So let's think about this. We're going to have this cute little scene. Maybe put a cloud up here. Yeah, let's do that. Let's add a couple of these clouds that come with this stamp set. So while I'm doing this, I've got my white piece here, and I've got my stamped image laying on top of it so I can see where everything is going to go in the long run. I'm just going to put my clouds there. Okay, I think that's good. So now we have to get some ink on the clouds. All right, and good thing you can see it from above. So we're going to do that. Use your little hockey puck. And the reason I use this is because it helps me get a lot of really good pressure when the image is bigger like this. Okay, and you can see a little bit of this because my stamp pad was dirty. And that stamp had been used before, but it doesn't matter. It's okay. So we're going to use something to color this image now. And what I'm going to use is something called pan pastels. And these are pure pigment, and they're in a powder form. And they are they're fun to work with. And since this is just a sympathy card, we don't want anything too bright, anything too garish. So we're going to use that. I want to get a scrap of white to put under this so that I don't end up with pan pastels all over my desktop. Because my pretty desktop is, these are just liners from the Dollar Tree. Just like contact paper. All right, so there we go. We've got our image. We've got this. And now I'm going to use just some makeup sponges. Just take out a couple of these. And because the pan pastels are so concentrated, you don't need much. So I'm just going to touch here on the green. I'll go ahead and test it on my thing, my little scratch paper. And look, it's a really close match to this one. So I want to use that. So I'm just going to get some of this. And that Versamark ink is actually sticky. And as you touch it like this, the ink is just going to act almost as a glue. It will just keep that powder where it is. And I know these are fall trees. Maybe I shouldn't have done, I didn't think about them being fall trees before I just did this. But now I'm looking at it thinking, these are naked trees. We can't do naked trees with green. The beauty of stamping. We don't like it, we just toss it off to the side. We'll get a new sheet. We'll do this again. All right, so let me cut another. Let's just stamp it and then I'll trim it down. All right, so the good thing is this image is still on the platform. We're just going to ink it up again. Got to ink up every time. Okay, and we're just going to stamp that on here. Get your hockey puck. I really don't even know what this thing is. And I honestly don't even know where I got it. Such is the life of a crafter. Okay, so this time, I told you, on this channel you're going to learn how to make all the mistakes that crafters make. We're going to color the grass. Because the path along the road here, you can see that there's grass. So just get that little bit of green. brush it on. And if this is too big for you and you don't feel comfortable using a makeup sponge like this, use a Q-tip. Use something else that you can pick up the pigment with. You don't want to use your fingers. It's very messy. And so even though there's no ink around these images, we're still going to add a little bit of the green. And then I need some brown for the trees that last time I colored green. Okay, and since it's winter or fall, these trees don't have any leaves. And don't worry about being perfect with this, because you can erase pan pastels. You can lighten them with something else. We've got a little park bench here. We're going to use some of our brown on our park bench. And then we're going to, I thought this was a path. I think it's a river. Well, you know what? Now it's brown. Now it's a path. When it's your design, you can do whatever you want. I also, somewhere I have some Swiffer sheets, and Swiffer sheets are great when you're using pan pastels. I wasn't even thinking about the pan pastels when I started this. It's a last minute thought. Just blow off the extra. Wipe it off. And then we're going to get this one, and we need some blue pan pastels because we need to make our sky. You might have, you can also do this with makeup, like old eyeshadow and stuff. You don't have to buy pan pastels. Pan pastels are expensive. I have had my pan pastels for years. They're fun. I like them. But if I had to do over again, I don't think I would buy them. They're just too expensive. So unless you just like become a master artist using pan pastels, you probably find something else to use. All right, so we're gonna get our colors on here. Get our trees. Just everything kind of soft and pretty. We don't want anything too harsh. It's like watercoloring. You don't have to like go all the way to every edge in order to make it look pretty. So now we're gonna trim this down. And because our card front is 5.5 by 4 1/4, we want to trim this smaller. So I'm going to start by trimming it 4 inches by 5 1/4. But then I just realized I'm going to want to put some of this green paper behind it, so it needs to be smaller. So I'm going to go 5 by 3 3/4. Okay, just going for that nice soft background look. And if you have things you don't like, just get a plain white school eraser and erase the parts that you don't like. I'm looking for an eraser to show you how easily it erases, but I don't do a lot with pencils, so I don't really know where an eraser is right now. Good enough. Okay, so then we need some of the green to go behind it. So we're going to take our green and we're going to cut this one to 4 by 5 1/4. And you can see in a minute here how it'll all come together. Okay, I already had that the right size. Now we have to put our pan pastels away, because I think we're done with those for right now. And they're delicate, but they're not so delicate that you have to be afraid of breaking them, because if you break them, they still work. All right, so this is what we have so far. We have a background, we have an image, but we're not done, because this isn't beautiful. This isn't something someone would be happy to get. So we got to keep going. Got to keep going, making it better. I'm gonna have to find an eraser because I really want to erase part of this. So let me look in a different drawer and see if I can find an eraser. Ah, I did. one of these. And the white erasers work much better. I want to clean this one off a little bit because it's already got color on it. So those are these that I did earlier, and you can just wipe the color off. So like this brown, I got a little too much brown off of the tree. I'm just gonna come in a little bit, make it a little more defined where the tree branches are, and make it so it doesn't look so glowing, because it's really not the look we're going for. Got a little too much here around the bridge. And I wanted to say thank you to all my new channel subscribers today. This has been super fun watching friends that I have from all different places come together to watch crafting videos, to talk, to ask questions. So we definitely need a little more blue to fill in where we just took off that color. There's probably enough blue left on this sponge. Let's try this. Oh, there we go. There it is. Yay. All right, so we've got all that. We'll add a little more green just to fill it out. All right, so there's our image. This is what I was trying to avoid, was getting stuff all over my desk. But apparently I forgot. Now I have chalk. It is just chalk, so it doesn't stain or anything. It just gets on the back of everything else. We're just going to take a baby wipe and wipe it off. Most crafting things that I'll show you can be cleaned up with a baby wipe. It doesn't take a lot of extra materials. Like yesterday when we used Legendary, this ink will just wipe off of these stamps. So that sat there all day. And it might stain your stamps a little bit, depending on what kind of ink you're using. If you're using something called Stays On, and you don't remove it with Stays On cleaner, it will stain your stamps. But I don't know. You don't get a prize for having the cleanest stamps that I know of. So I don't really worry about it too much. All right, let's look at what we've got. White card base, piece of green. We've got this. We have the sayings that we're going to use either on the outside or the inside of our card, depending on what we decide. So let's get our sayings back out here. Okay. So I don't know. What do you think? Do something to take over the view, or let the view be the main image here. I kind of like this. Look at this effect. If we could just put that back over this, and that's the beauty of a stamp platform. We can get this one back out, and I'm going to get out my black ink, which you will see me use about every time because it is my favorite ink. It's the black VersaFine Claire. But I'm going to do something just a little different. I'm not going to use the black this time. This time I'm going to use Fallen Leaves. We have a number of different, or they make a number of different browns. So I'm just going to ink this up because we just want this to bring out all of the details. So ink, ink, ink. If I get my head in the way for this, I apologize, but I need to be above this. So you do this and you look at things that you can tell where they're at. Okay, there's the path. I can really tell where the bench is. Okay, I think I'm good. I'm going for it. We'll see what happens. Rub, rub, rub. And don't let this thing move while you're rubbing it. Otherwise, you'll end up with a skipped image. Ooh, I like this. Look at that. You can see like the clouds have a little bit of depth to them. Everything looks a little 3D. I really like how that turned out. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so question is, do we want to use this entire green? Do we want to do a partial something here? Do we want to use some of the other green that we had, which is polka dots? Thinking about this, like, what do I want to do? Oh, I see some people. Hi, Pinche Becky. Nice to see you. I'm just talking about making cards tonight. I have my comments on another phone, so I'm still trying to figure life out here. Okay, let's see what we're going to do here. I think I'm going to do half and half with this because I'm kind of liking that look. So we remember that our card is 4 1/4 inches this way. So we cut it 1/4 inch smaller. So we're just going to go 4 inches. And so then we need to trim this one down to 4 inches. So if we do this and this, we need 5 1/4 inches. So that's 5 1/2 plus 1/8. So 5 divided by 2 is, I need a piece of paper. I'm trying to figure out what half of 5 1/4 is. If anyone is quicker at that than me, put that in the chat and I will say thank you. Oh, thank you. Not always the most organized, but I definitely try. Okay, so a half of an 1/4 is 1/8, and half of 5 1/2, a half of 5 is 2 1/2. So we have 2, and so this would be 4/8. So we need 2 5/8. That was some high math there, girls. All right, so let's do this. 2 4/8. Okay, so that's 2 4/8, and we just need 1 more 8. So we're going to go right there. 2 4/8. But the beauty is you don't have to cut both of them because we're just going to overlap. So once again, we're going to use our liquid glue because it works so nicely. Usually if I'm making sympathy cards, I'll try to make some that are more masculine oriented and some that are more feminine. My friend who lost her uncle and her 2 cousins, that's a mixture of male and female. So we're just going to go more on the masculine side. Not that it matters. I mean, no one's going to return your sympathy card and tell you that they didn't like it. Honestly, I think sending sympathy cards is just more a way of letting someone know you're thinking about them. I think people don't remember what you wrote. People are always like, I need inside sayings, I need this. It's like, you just need to show your friends love and support. They're not judging what you write. And honestly, for the most part, they don't remember. If you think about a time when you had a loss in your family, you probably don't even remember who was at the funeral home. That's why we have those books. Everybody sign in and I'll look back later and see who was there. Okay, so this is stark. This is just too much white. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take this and we're going to do some more pan pastels. We're going to get that same little sponge out. We've got this. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a rough situation. It was her uncle and 2 of her cousins were murdered just after the holidays. And I'm going to be with her in a couple weeks. So it'll be good to be able to just sit with her. I think anytime you have the privilege or the honor of sitting with someone in their sorrow, it's something very special. Just being there to assist in whatever manner you can, or whatever that means to that person. But that's a very hard time, and it's just really special when you can be there for your friends in that way. Okay, so let's see how this is now. Ah, that's much better. We got a little bit of color coming in around the edges. We have our main thing, and now our main thing is a little too big. So we're going to trim it down some more. And that's what I said. When you watch people who do card videos and they show you exactly how to make a perfect card, you did not see all the stuff they did behind the scenes. So I'm just being really honest and showing you what we do when we're making cards. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Something that looks like that. Okay. And I mentioned that I don't like to have things really flat on our card or on my cards I make, cards for other people. I want some dimension. So we're just going to use our glue. This is white glue. It's called Barely, like a little bear, Barely art glue, or it's glitter art glue. And both of those are really good brands. And now because the pan pastels are like a chalk and we haven't set them, don't rub them with your fingers because you will make a mess. Okay. And then we will trim again. Lots of trimming. And if you want to make cards and you don't have a trimmer, go to Temu. Temu has everything. And I know everyone's like, oh, but China will have my information. I've been an online teacher of Chinese students for 7 years, so China has all my information. I'm not worried about China. All right, now let's look. There we go. See how much nicer that is? Because now you can actually see what's around it. We didn't do all of that work and then so that people couldn't see what we have done to make it prettier. Now I'm going to find my pop dots, which are the little adhesive squares that raise your image up. They're sticky on both sides. There we go. Just like that. They come in all different sizes and shapes. These are some I got off of from Spellbinders Paper Crafts, which is another big paper crafting company. They were having great sales over the holidays, of course, like everybody else. So put those down, pop them off. Toss off the little white ones. You can pick them up later. That's funny. Yeah. Or hearing aids. I don't know. I guess I didn't look up soon enough to see what you meant by that one. All right. So there we go. So that is the front of our card. And then I mentioned that it wasn't set. So the best thing to do to set it is to just take some cheap aerosol hairspray. Psh, psh. That's all you have to do. But my cheap aerosol hairspray is not at my desk right now. So I will get it though. So I would do this, and then I would take that saying that I want to use, and I would put it inside my card. So I need a long block because, as you can see, this is a really long stamp. Sorry. Sorry if that's loud. I'm digging in the drawer to find another stamping platform. Okay, there we go. Here's another clean stamping platform. So I'm going to put this on here, being really careful to use the grid lines because that's the last thing you want to do. Spend all this time making a card and then put your saying on it and it's crooked. Okay, and this is the one that says, I hope you can find some comfort in the stories, the laughs, all the joyful memories that will be with you forever. So I think that is a great saying for this card. So we're just gonna open it up, lay it down, and be careful. You don't want to get it in here wrong. There we go. Okay, and if you're going to and just wipe your stamp off with a baby wipe as soon as you're done. Makes it easier. And if you're going to all of this trouble to make a beautiful card and you have extra things left over, put something pretty on the inside. Take a scrap of this, line the bottom of your card, cut out a flower, put in here. And like I said, since this one could be for male or female because of the color scheme, I'm going to show you something about cutting. If you've never done a lot of cutting, all right, I'm going to work on this little rose right here. We're going to cut this one out. So what you want to do, you want to move your paper. You don't move your scissors. Your scissors just stay right here. You open your scissors, you put your paper in. Then when you need to open them again, you do, but you're moving the paper. And this is how you can get a really nice cut. And we call this fussy cutting because you're such a little fussy thing to do. But that's how you get it so that it doesn't look like you started and stopped and started and stopped. So when you do have to start and stop again, you open your scissors wide, put it there, and then slowly close your scissors as you're moving the design. When people say they don't like to cut, it's usually because they're cutting. All right, so we have this cute little image now. And the thing about adding to your card is that if you have an image like this and you stick it right in the middle of your card, it just looks silly. But if you take this image and you put it right at the very edge, so I did mine on a leaf, so I have this right here at the very edge, it actually makes your card base look larger. So now we have one element, the flower, two elements, the words. We need something else over here because in design, you always need 3 design elements. It just makes the eye flow better. We always think about a Z. Our eyes are flowing like this across the card. So I want to put something across the bottom here. So I'm going to take a piece of this. And we're just going to put that along the bottom. Most people don't want to write a lot in a thank you note. So using a larger saying like this, using some more elements, takes up a lot of the space so that you don't feel like you have to write. And then we have this really white strip. So maybe you've already guessed, we're just going to come in here with some more of that pan pastel. Because this way we're doing the same kinds of things on the inside that we did on the front. Turn it over so you can see what you're doing. Snip it off. And there we go. We've got our card. We've got our inside. And I don't know. I think it's very nice. That is a really good idea to buy the Christmas paper afterwards and use it because you have the beautiful reds. That's kind of what I was thinking about this stuff I showed earlier. I don't know if you were here when I showed this, Becky, but it's some new paper from Stampin' Up! That a friend of mine sent to me, but it's got these beautiful golds. I love foil and gold. The swirls, this pink, and then we also have this great red and this one. And yesterday I showed these. These are some trees that I made with cut files. And I'm thinking, how cute would this look if we did some of these hearts with this heart tree, or even this pretty pink one for a Valentine. Yeah, these would be really cute with those. I was looking to see what I have over here. Yeah. I don't know. That might have to be next. And for those of you who answered of how I did that one card, I showed it and I said, what do you think I used? I actually used a napkin. Yep. Just a plain old Christmas napkin. So there are so many cute napkins, especially right now. Clearance season. Go to clearance season. Clearance on Christmas items. Go to Dollar Tree. Buy a bunch of cute Christmas napkins, because I'm going to show later in the week how you can use napkins to make really beautiful cards. Like, my husband has been looking at my cards for years and years and years, and he had no idea how I did it, which is unusual. So I know it's something not a lot of people have seen, and I think that is all I have. Thank you. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it. If there's anything you want to see me make, or if there's any kind of products you've seen, I'm like, I wonder what that is. I will be showing the dry embossing machine, which is also a die cut machine. I will also show the Cricut machine, which is the electronic die cut machine that does all kinds of things. And I personally own a Silhouette machine, which is an electronic die cut machine that does all kinds of things. So many fun things in this room to play with. I love this one. Look at all the sparkles. My crafting is just a hobby for me, and I am a full-time student in a master's program, and that starts again at the end of the month. Hello, Susan. Nice to see you. I guess we're all night owls, except Becky. She's on a different time zone than us. You have an unused Cricut? Well, I am going to inspire you to break out that Cricut and use it, because so many fun things that we're going to do with the Cricut. So, all right, better get to bed. I have a small child to teach early in the morning. Well, it's early in the morning for me, but it's in the evening for him in China. And yeah, I should probably be awake for that. So thank you, ladies, for joining me. I really appreciate it. Yay. There's our card again. Susan, if you didn't get to see the process, the video will upload here shortly. So I'm sure I'll see some of you in the chat tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening. I never can find the button to end my lives. I really don't know where the button is. I know there's an X somewhere. Right. Because you know why? I'm touching the phone that I'm watching on and not the phone that I'm doing this on. Okay, now I really am saying goodnight. Good night, ladies.